So this video is for people who want to know how to disagree assertively while maintaining trust and respect without getting defensive. Because the very thing that unites human beings is different. And when ideas collide, we end up with more productive outcomes, better relationships, and a better world. Now, we either avoid disagreements because we want to maintain harmony, or we end up in arguments that ends up creating toxic relationships and destructive workplaces and communities. I'm going to talk you through the 4 A's of how to disagree better. And if you want to know how you react in a disagreement, I've devised a diagnostic that will tell you in 5 minutes, it's been completed by 1,000 people, how you respond. Comment quiz and I'll send it right to you. So the 4 points are absorb, agree, assert, and ask. So absorb first. This is actually an inside job. This is about you managing yourself before you speak a single word. And this, for me, is about taking a breath. And I always say, let your breath be your first word. Take a step back before you take a step in. And then number 2 is agree. And this isn't necessarily about agreeing with the argument, because we want to be genuine, we don't want to be inauthentic, but it's trying to find some level of common ground. So it might be saying something like, look, I agree with the way in which you're approaching this. I agree, this is something that we both care about, and I know that we see this differently. How do we try and work through this? This is about validating them. This is about lowering defensiveness so that you can turn a disagreement into a healthy dialogue. And then thirdly, assert. This is when you make your claim, this is when you make your argument. Because now what you've done, you've served up the conditions for you to make your point. And I is really important when you want to make your point, you want to assert your point. It's important that you use I, because somebody can't take away your truth. So you might say something like, I think that if we're going to get to a better decision, it's important that we get the right people in the room to debate this. Because if we don't, we might risk unintended consequences. And with that, the consequence is that we might get rework, people get frustrated, and we end up doing the same thing over and over again. So what you're using is evidence, data, anecdotal evidence from your experience being in that workplace to make your claim. And number 4 is ask. This is about making a participation. You hand it back to them to get their perspective. So you make your point and then you say, how does that land for you? How do you see this? What's your perspective on this? Is there anything that I'm missing? So in summary, the 4 A's are absorb, agree, assert, then ask. Give this a go in your next conversation.